Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Amiibo here, and today we're doing the long-awaited unboxing and first impressions for Donkey Kong Bananza on the Nintendo Switch. I have played a lot of this game already, so we're going to do the unboxing, and then we're going to go into some pretty lengthy impressions for this video. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy videos like this, I would appreciate you liking the video and subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty folks, here we are with Donkey Kong Bananza. Probably the most anticipated Switch 2 game of the entire year, I would say. Like, people are very excited for this game, and for good reason. The reviews came out, and it is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece by a lot of people's account. I've played a lot of it so far. I tend to agree with what I played so far, but you'll hear my thoughts on the game so far. I ended up buying it from the Japanese eShop so I could get some videos out early and play it early. This copy is actually going to go to my friend Caleb for the time being because his copy that he ordered has not left like the shipping distribution house, and it was supposed to come today. So as soon as this gets opened up, it's going to him so he can actually start playing the game. But we're going to do the unboxing here, starting off with the cover arts. I think during the Switch era, but really just moving forward even now with Mario Kart World and now this, Nintendo first-party box art has gotten so good. Like, this just pops, dude. Especially in the Ask the Developer interview, they noted this. The, like, neon blue and pink coloring here is actually a direct homage to the original arcade game. It's the coloring of, like, the steel beams and stuff. Very cool. You wouldn't really notice that. You wouldn't really think about that, but the box art for this just really pops. You have Paulie in there. When they announced the game, it was just Odd Rock, so they had to replace that and all the key art and everything. But there we have the fronts of the box here. So I swear I just saw, like, a fly or something go around here, but that's fine. Here we have the spine for Donkey Kong Bananza with the arts wrapping around here, Texas centered. Pretty basic, but still keeping in line with other major releases on the console. Having that art wrap around is nice. There are some that just do the whites, but this looks pretty good here. And then for the back of the box here, it says a groundbreaking adventure with DK and Paulie in there. I love the renders. Oh, DK's new design is so good. I can't get over how good his design actually is in this game. Explore wild worlds and find golden bananas. Pauline sings, Donkey Kong transforms. Buddy up with two-player co-op using the Joy-Con. Paint and sculpt using mouse controls and DK artist mode. That's just a fun little extra thing they added, similar to, like, well, obviously Mario Artist, but also very similar to, like, the screen on Mario 64 or Mario 64 DS where you can, like, mess with Mario's face. That's what the DK Artist mode essentially is, and it's pretty fun. There's a little bonus thing to mess around with that they didn't need to add. But yeah, there's the back of the box, and I guess we can go and crack it open. I don't have too much to say in this little preamble because I've already played a lot of the game, and that's what most of this video is going to be. Of course, I won't get into spoilers or anything. In fact, I think all my footage is from the first two areas of the game before you even get Pauline, so very early gameplay. Just to avoid really spoiling anything. This game is so special. I think it's really best experienced yourself, in terms of, like, the story stuff, but also the types of levels you're doing and that kind of thing. If I can get this plastic off, that would be very nice. Okay, plastic coming off for Bananza here. Okay, so once again, front of the box without the plastic, spine, and then the back of the box. Love the art once again. Just, it really pops here. Let's open her up and see. Oh yeah, okay, so no inserts or anything, but we have the cartridge and we do have some background art. We'll pop that out and see what it looks like in full. Here we have the cartridge for Donkey Kong Bananza. Now, you might see some posts about this online. It does actually have a download. The full game is playable on the cartridge. However, the update adds the game share functionality, so if you want to play two-player co-op with a friend online using game share, where one of them plays as Pauline, there is an update for that, but I'm pretty sure that's the only difference. So the full game is on here. You don't need to download anything. If you're someone who worries about that kind of thing, the full game's here. It just is missing the game share, which, once again, I mean, that would require internet anyway to use. But yeah, let's go ahead and open this up and actually take out the box art just to see. I love all this key art's so good, dude. Oh my goodness. Love that. DK's new design, Pauline. The story for this game so far, once again, no spoilers, very good for, like, a Mario-style game, Donkey Kong game. It's not the most in-depth thing or anything, but it's very touching having DK and Pauline working together. It's very cute so far, and it has some pretty funny moments. I'm definitely having a lot of fun with that. Okay, now, obviously, since I have it downloaded, I already have, the game on here. I'm actually going to delete this, though, just so we can see how big the download is. I think this is important for some people, just to really know. Let me make sure my save is uploaded, so I'm not... Okay, yeah. My save is fine. Deleting this. Delete the home menu icon. This is all for testing purposes. Okay, Bananza is gone. Shout out to Spike Chunsoft for the review code for that, by the way. That'll be coming out next week. Review for that. Once I finish it up. Although I'm so busy with Bananza, I don't know, man. Let's take the cartridge here. Donkey Kong Bananza. If only they had made it yellow, like the DK64 cartridge. That would have been fun. And let's go ahead and put this in here. I think Suikoden is still in, still playing through that. So many freaking games right now, man. I can't keep up with everything. Pop that in there. And here we have the game itself. Let's see. Yeah, there is a download. So let's go ahead and download that and we can see how big it actually is. Probably, okay, it is a very small file. Okay, yeah, so the update for this to add game share support is 92 megabytes. Not a big download at all. I just wanted to include this so you all know exactly what it's going to be. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into my early impressions of the game. Once again, no spoilers, so you don't have to worry about that. No spoilers in this video. Let's jump over to that now. All right, time for some first impressions. So I don't want to get too in-depth in terms of like areas and levels and like plot stuff because one, I'm going to do a full 100% completion review in a week or two once I'm done with the game, but also I just don't want to spoil anything, so all of the footage you're going to see both in handheld and docked is from really the first hour and a half of the game. However, I have played about 12 hours of Donkey Kong Bonanza right now. I want to say I'm maybe like halfway through what would be considered the main story, and this game is really, really good. I was skeptical of Bonanza. I'm not going to pretend I wasn't. I'm not going to try to rewrite history. When this game was announced, I was like, okay, this is clearly the Mario Odyssey team, but it feels a little off for me. It feels like it might be a little less important than something like a Mario Odyssey. I was dead wrong. This is a game on the caliber of Mario Odyssey every step of the way, and I think in many ways, having not replayed Mario Odyssey since like 2018, I think in many ways Donkey Kong Bonanza exceeds it, but also I do want to go back to Mario Odyssey a lot now. For the first few hours, I had some nitpicks, and these might end up still being things that will affect you or whatever, but I think the way that you smash through stuff is really fun. However, it does, I want to say, hinder the design of the levels a little bit, but also not. Like, I keep having to check myself because I keep trying to associate it or compare it to 3D Mario games, which ultimately I think is fair because it is so similar, but also the level design inherently is so different because you're destroying everything, the puzzle design, how you get your bananas. This is a 3D platformer through and through, but really, it's designed more like a game like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Everything you do in this game, you can kind of decide how to do it yourself. There is the intended routes that they will guide you through, but really, it's like when you do a shrine in Breath of the Wild and you completely break it and you do it your own way. That is how this game plays. It is a 3D platformer, don't get me wrong, but it plays more like those two modern Zelda games, and I love those games. It just took me a little bit to get kind of used to that style of puzzle solving in a 3D platformer environment, if that makes sense. I also think the camera at times can be a little wonky when you are smashing through the dirt and you're in like a cavern or a tunnel you made, and it'll do this like weird transparency effect. Sometimes that can be a little weird, but also when I first started the game, I was breaking literally everything because I was like, okay, I don't even know what this gold does, but I want to get as much gold as possible. Eventually, you realize the gold's really not that important. I still, collect most of it whenever I can, but I'm not just going into a wall to smash it for gold anymore like I was, so honestly, that's really not that much of an issue. It can be a little wonky, don't get me wrong, but overall, it's fine, especially given what you are actually doing in the game. Final little nitpick here, before we get into the vast amount of positive things, is the frame rate can kind of be an issue sometimes. This is something that I noted in my hands-on preview back in April. The frame rate is definitely better than it was when I played it back then, and also in general, it's really not that noticeable. Like, there will be times when you notice it. There was an area later on when you get a different Bonanza power-up that's specifically like the guided route that I was supposed to be doing. The frame rate like kind of exploded on itself, but not to the point where it was unplayable. It was just like, oh, wow, I can really see this game dropping, which is always disappointing. But for your moment-to-moment gameplay, for the most part, when you're playing this game, there will be no frame drops, or at least not noticeable frame drops. And I will say, starting into our positives here, this game looks incredible, especially in handheld mode. Now, you're not going to see too much of that in this video because the handheld gameplay is all of Ingot Isle, which is very dark. But when you're on like a beach level or like a lava area, the HDR of the Switch 2 handheld screen, but also it having VRR to kind of help with the frame rate a little bit. In fact, I would go as far as to say this is the best looking game I've played on the Switch 2 in handheld mode specifically. It just looks really, really good with all the colors, the actual art direction of each world. It just looks so good. It looks like Mario Odyssey while also feeling more next-gen and also having its own identity on top of that. It's hard to explain, but visually, this game is just really, really good. It's just a visual treat. And that, goes with the animations and stuff too. DK himself, I love how emotive he is in this game. I think this might be the most screenshots I've ever taken while playing a Switch game. The next closest thing would probably be like Xenoblade 2 or 3, because I like taking screenshots in those games. But for a Donkey Kong game, for me to be taking, you know, hundreds of screenshots, I wasn't really expecting that. So shout out to like the animation team, to the art direction team. This game is a visual treat. And then of course the gameplay, I think when the dust settles on Bananza, there's going to be two groups of people. Ultimately, I think it's a great game no matter what, and I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to deny that. However, I do remember back when Mario Odyssey came out, there was a very vocal group of players who didn't like how non-consequential a lot of the moons felt and how you collect them, you kind of just find them randomly. This game kind of dials that up to 1,000, where you will oftentimes end up finding like 4 bananas in like 30 seconds. You know, like you can really start finding these things faster and faster. Some of them, of course, take more effort. There will be like a little sub level you do, and that's certainly more rewarding. But there are bananas in this game that kind of just feel like they're sitting around. And I just know, based on the reaction to Odyssey back then, there will be some people that don't like that. However, given the design of this game, given that you're encouraged to kind of take the levels your own way instead of following the guided pathway, I think it works a lot better in this game, actually, because you'll, you know, see a fossil or something, which are these collectibles similar to the purple coins that let you buy cosmetics for DK and Pauline. You'll see a fossil or something, you'll go to it, and then you'll just happen to see a banana using your sonar. When you slap your hands, a little, like, sonar thing pops up and tells you what's behind a wall. There is just a constant flow of you finding collectibles, and sometimes those bananas feel a little, like, okay, well, it was just there, I guess. It was just, like, in this mountain or whatever. But because you are, you know, kind of breaking the world, as it were, I think it works a lot better in this game than it did in Odyssey. And that's coming from someone who absolutely loves Odyssey and how you collect the moons in that game. But I think this game really just dials up that design to 100, and I think kind of perfects it in a lot of ways. The movement is something that I'm still kind of getting used to, even, you know, 10, 12 hours in. However, I think it's going to end up being, like, really, really, really good. It's already fun, don't get me wrong, but as someone who loves, like, Mario speedrunning and that kind of, like, culture, I'm really curious to see how, once you upgrade your entire skill tree, how people connect all of the different moves that DK has, because right now I'm still getting kind of tripped up. So when you press ZR, you rip a chunk of rock or dirt or whatever out of the ground, and then you can actually ride on it like a Beyblade, essentially, or like the twister thing in Twilight Princess. And this is a lot of fun. However, to get off of it, you press ZL again. You can't, like, press B, and I feel like it should be B. My brain is still trying to, like, work out the exact controls of these things, but the movement is a lot of fun. I like that you can do the turf and surf. I like that he has a roll. When you have a chunk in your hands, you can do a double jump with it once you get the skill point on your skill tree. I'm having an absolute blast with it so far, and I think once I really master it, it might be one of the best movesets in any 3D platformer. And it's really amazing how, using the moveset you have, you can kind of end up skipping objectives, or, you know, skipping around things that would lead you to your objective, talking about that Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom playstyle. Because he can climb up walls, and because he has this double jump and this turf and surf thing, you can really end up breaking the game and solving some puzzles in really unique and creative ways that, while, yes, there is that intended path, it just feels good to do in this game. The music is amazing. The challenge levels, or like the bonus rooms, are fantastic. There's a lot of variety there in terms of homages to past Donkey Kong Country levels, or 3D arenas where you fight a bunch of enemies and you have to, like, kind of figure out what their weakness is based on, okay, well, do I need to take a chunk of mud and throw it at him, or, you know, do that kind of thing. There is so much variety constantly being thrown at you, even, you know, 12 hours in, maybe I want to say like halfway through the story itself. It just never gets old. It is constantly throwing new and unique ideas at you that not only stay fresh in the context of DK Bananza, they're fresh in the context of the lineage of 3D platformers from this Mario team. There is so much new stuff that they've never done before in a 3D Mario game, so the game just constantly feels really exciting to play. But that is going to do it for my early impressions and the unboxing, of course. I'm going to save my full thoughts for once I 100% the game, so you'll see me again in like 2 weeks for that video. Of course, I'll have videos in between. Tomorrow we'll have the Tony Hawk video, but I'm really enjoying this game. I can't wait to play more of it after finishing up this video, and like I said, you will see a very in-depth 100% review in maybe a week or two. I don't want to rush it, you know. I've already put a lot of time into it yesterday, having bought it from the Japanese eShop and, you know, getting it a little bit early. So we'll see how long it actually ends up taking me to 100%, but definitely stay tuned to the channel for that review. You don't want to miss it. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, folks, peace.